Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Welcome to Digging for Gold
With Dan Goldberg.
with Dan Goldberg. That's moi.
This
That's
is
you.
true.
And you're Thomas Northern.
I am Thomas Northern.
Well, I have to tell you, it's a pleasure to have you here. This is Digging for Gold, episode 1. So you're the first guest. How's that feel?
It's an honor.
I promise you.
It's an honor.
keep my
You
promise.
yeah, you did promise. You kept the promise, and
Promises made, promises kept.
I've told many of my family that they will be receiving a podcast with me in it. So
Perfect. Can't beat that.
this is true.
You know, I was impressed when you told me a long time ago, I don't know, a couple of years, a year ago, whatever it was, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, that you were 8th in the world, ranked 8th in that's the entire world
Yeah.
of 8.5 billion people for the game Call of Duty. Let me get this right. Black Ops 3.
That is correct.
What was that like? How'd you get into it?
It was a lot of work. I got into it. I got into competitive gaming in general.
Yeah, what's it like to be a competitive gamer? How did you get into? Let's start there.
So as a child, I had a brother that was 13 years older than me, and he would have friends come over. And back on Nintendo 64, there was a game called GoldenEye, which was like a first-person shooter, or the first or third. And him and his friends, I would always say I wanted to play. They would let me play, and then they would put me on a team by myself and team up on me. Many years I took some beatings, but over time I started getting pretty good, and eventually would be able to handily handle 1 versus 3 against my brother and friends.
Wow.
Which led me to getting an Xbox and playing Halo and Call of Duty, and eventually led into a gaming career.
So how do you get into a gaming career?
Well, I'm sure it's a different process now. There was, for probably about almost 20 years, a company, Major League Gaming, which was the primary roadmap for a competitive gamer.
Major League Game. Didn't they have an arena here in Philly?
So that was actually when it got branched off. So there was a esports arena here for the Philadelphia Fusion, but then that was from a different company. So there started being a lot of competition.
Are they still around any of that?
Major League Gaming completely went out of business, filed bankruptcy, and then I actually have screenshots of my old competitive gaming stuff because the website is gone. So I took lots of screenshots.
You got to show me that.
I
didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
So yeah, Major League Gaming was a website. You could compete online. So it started with free competition. You could just play, but it was other people that wanted to be competitive. And then over time, they started adding on online tournaments, which is a good place to really get your feet under you and continue expanding from there.
So what's the process of becoming like a professional? I mean, how'd you become a professional?
So I guess it started on that website. You'd have what's called pro points. So if you competed and placed well in tournaments, you would have pro points. I believe it was like the top 2% of competitive players would be considered pro in the game if you had enough pro points from online tournament placements and other competitive avenues.
So who calls you and says, Thomas, you're in the game now. You're big time. I mean, how did that happen? What's the process?
I wish someone called me and said, hey, you're in the game now. It's big time. For me, it was a lot of just competing in online tournaments, competing against people that were those sort of known professionals, and then networking, like everything else in life, right? And
it's the most important thing.
When somebody on their team was not able to play, and they'd be like, hey, we need to fill in, go fill in and perform well.
So were you you were in a league, right? What's the transition to becoming a league player?
So the transition is, from purely being online to going to what they call LAN events, which is where instead of being connected through the internet, where internet speed, things like that can have an effect on the outcomes, everybody is connected directly, like one console into another console. And then you can create your team. So you can build out a team. You can join a team.
They're all there?
Yeah.
Like real people?
Real human beings. And there's LAN centers where you can go and practice and play with others in person.
Okay.
In online tournaments. There's many avenues to competitive gaming.
None of that is around anymore, right?
Major League Gaming is not around now, and I think it's really because the game companies themselves realized that they could make a lot more money if they were to be their own entity. So in the competitive space now, if you were to play Call of Duty, it's run by Activision or Blizzard, which is the creator of the game.
Right.
Right. For Fortnite, it's Epic Games, so they run their own like internal competitive systems.
So okay, so I got you. Now you're rocking and rolling. You're not number 8 yet, right?
I am not. No, I am not number 8 yet.
Okay. So, how do you make the money? The monies. How do you make that?
You win tournaments, or you get sponsorships.
Okay, so how do the tournaments put up the money? Who puts up the money?
So this is an often, I would say, one of the most common things I got asked, right, which is how much would you earn in a year? And I would share my earnings. What oftentimes people would forget is the entry fee that you're paying for that tournament. So typically it would be the players would pay an entry fee, and it would depend on the size of the tournament.
Okay.
So maybe there's 32 teams. Each player puts up $100, and then there would be a $30,000 prize pool. Usually first place gets $25,000, second place gets $5,000.
Oh,
Maybe third place gets their money back.
really?
Yeah.
You don't want to be third place. You don't want to be fourth place.
You don't want to be
That's for
anything
sure.
but first, really.
First.
But yeah.
So you were first how many times? A lot of times, right?
I have, I believe 182 times through Major League Gaming.
Wow.
And there were some other third-party companies and sites
Like
that
an
I would play
all-star,
through.
man.
It was fun times.
Did you travel around the country?
I did get the opportunity to travel, never internationally, but just domestically. I played international tournaments online, but never had the privilege of going to Europe to play video games, which was a goal of mine. The only thing I didn't achieve that I wanted to.
I'll have to start it up again.
Yeah, it's never too late.
Do you still play?
I play casually now, so I'll play with I have a nephew that I'll play with like Fortnite, sometimes on the weekends.
Ball players, I heard, play Fortnite in the locker rooms and things. And yeah,
I heard that's why we're not winning the championship.
it's a problem. And then, yeah, so we need fifth night.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, but so now you're doing that. Okay, you're rocking and rolling with all that stuff. What is it that makes someone think about staying in that game? I mean, you must have made some serious money, right? Is it like it's all risk,
Yes.
okay? But anybody in business, entrepreneurs, are not risk adverse. I mean,
Risk takers.
Risk takers. That's the word. Risk takers. They take risks, right?
Absolutely.
So, and that's what you are. You're an entrepreneur.
This
We'll
is
talk
true.
about your other business in a bit.
Sure.
But so you're an entrepreneur who started off just playing as a kid and realized you could beat your brother's friends.
Yeah.
And they were a lot older than you. So
And then I figured, hey, maybe I can monetize this, and
monetize.
started winning tournaments when I was 14. So you had to have parents' consent to compete,
yeah.
and then my parents had to, approve that I could get paid for anything I won. And at the time, it was like, a couple $100 a month maybe, and I was thinking, man, I'm rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, back when I was a kid, that would mean that you were rich.
Yeah.
But no, what can you do? So, how long did you do this? For how many years?
So I mean, my whole life I played video games. I guess I was considered a semi-professional through professional gamer from about 2012 through 2018.
So
6 years. 6 years. Yeah.
That's a pretty good. That's for a lot of ball players. That's the life of a ball player.
This is true.
After 6 years, you can declare free agency.
Yeah.
Then you can play for anybody. Now, so since the companies themselves are paying, right? They have their own tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever think of playing in a company tournament?
So the companies that run them now,
Mm-hmm.
they still require oftentimes entry fees.
Okay.
Or the more common way now is that it'll start online and it will get filtered into smaller and smaller groups. So it's harder and harder to qualify. So I've thought about it, and even when I would play and have entry fees, a lot of times there would be sponsors that would say, "Hey, we're going to cover your entry fee, but your team name has to be NAS Gaming." Was one of the companies that would sponsor us for
Oh, I've heard of
tournaments.
that. Yeah. So, how many sponsors did you get over those 6 years?
More than I could count. A lot of times it would be one individual sponsor, and sometimes it would even be an individual person who would say, "Hey, I want to sponsor you and so to play in this tournament." They'll pay the entire entry fee, and then if we win, they'd get a portion of the proceeds and the recognition.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Where was the furthest you traveled?
Dallas.
It's still in Texas.
Yeah.
Now, it's interesting. Do you know the derivation of the name Dallas? How Dallas, Texas became Dallas, Texas?
I do not. I just know it's where the Cowboys play, and as an Eagles fan, that's enemy territory.
Yeah, I get it. But the interesting thing is that Dallas, the name Dallas, he was I believe, you can check it out, he was a mayor of Philadelphia or something, Philadelphia, and a Supreme Court justice for Pennsylvania, and there is a Dallas, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And that's how Dallas, Texas got its name.
I can't wait to tell all my Cowboys friends.
Yeah, I'm telling you that. Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Their whole city's named after our city.
That's it. I think from people from Dallas, Pennsylvania, just moved to Dallas, down to Texas, and that's how it. So those of you who are watching this from Dallas, Texas, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to, acquiesce to Pennsylvania.
Tens or dozens or hundreds or thousands of viewers.
That's true. Actually, we have quite a few viewers, and interestingly enough, we have our Dan G for YouTube channel, which this will go on, and
Okay.
this is our new Digging for Gold podcast. But we also have Bearded Brilliance. Thank you, Stephen, by the way, for that, and we have quite a few viewers on that. It's clips of my YouTube videos.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, one of my students came up with the idea.
Fits. I have a beard.
You have
It's not as
Can't
nice
beat
as
that.
your beard.
yeah, that's a good beard.
I think it'll take a couple decades to get
Well,
to
this is
that
3
level.
weeks. How's it look?
It looks good.
And it's Velcro. So
Okay.
I take it off right after the show. So, so what happened that you said, okay, I'm done?
It was, I would say, a multitude of factors. I think
Okay.
for one, when I started to really have to be able to pay bills for my now wife and I, it went from being what was a hobby that could produce income to being a career that was incredibly stressful. Because as mentioned, right, there is very little consistency in that
Right.
income. So you could have a great month, or you could have an awful month, and to feel like I was potentially letting down my wife and myself, who were counting on at least some level of income. And my wife was, working her tail off at that time as well. It no longer was fun. And for me, that was kind of when I knew it was time to move on. And also, unfortunately, my father passed. And he had always been a big, factor saying, go to school, get a degree, start a business, like do something else. And so it was sort of like a way of rebutting, saying, no, I'm just going to play video games. And then when he was gone, all of a sudden I wanted to follow the advice.
Yeah. And you did.
I did do that.
You went back to school.
I went back to school. I tried my luck at Temple since Penn State did not work out. Sorry, Penn State.
I'm tied to both.
I love
schools.
Penn State. I have no ill
I
will.
love Penn State. I love Temple, and Kutztown, and Delaware Valley University. But yes, I love them all. They're meaningful to me.
You are wearing your Temple hat.
I am wearing my Temple hat, yes, and I wear this hat all over the world. But I have other hats, and I have a Phillies hat, and I do have some Penn State gear, but I wear this all the time.
I do as well. And I was just not ready for Penn State. Penn State was ready for me.
I get it. And then you went to Temple.
And then I went to Temple.
And your eyes opened up, and there you go. And then you became a student. And once you got into being a student, okay, and this is interesting because some of you out there have to think about what is it that sparks your interest to start a career in a certain area. I mean, for me, it was, what do I do now that I got my degree? But I had been working part-time and I just went into that business. What happened with you?
For me, I mean, it was seeing the impact of work that had been done, and I think, to create a business in any realm, you have to have a high level of drive, and there's different things that can drive an individual. On the spot, I don't know if I can name the 5, but it would be money, recognition, impact, a sense of belonging, and mastery. I got all 5.
Wow, pretty good.
So those 5 things are what can create drive, and seeing the impact that my father's financial planning had done for my mother, for her to be able to stay retired and stay at Rehoboth Beach, even though for most of her life she was the primary breadwinner. She likes to share. Yeah. But the planning he did really played such a huge role that I knew that the impact was there. I had many colleagues or friends and my father's advisor in the marketplace, so I knew the money was there. Mm-hmm. And those were the 2 primary driving factors, at least initially, that led me to want to have drive to build something for myself in the financial planning space.
So you went back to school, okay? When you went back to school, your dad was still alive, I would think?
So I was going to community college.
Philadelphia community?
No, Montgomery County.
Oh, okay.
Montgomery County Community College, while he was still alive. Very studious. Got my associates in just 5 years.
Just 5 years, a 3-year. By the way, I forgot Philadelphia community. I went there too. Yeah, so, oh wow, just 5 years. That's pretty good for a 2-year school.
Yeah.
Good. So would you get lost or something? Yeah.
I got lost. I think I really wanted to hone in on some of the subjects, so took a couple classes a few times.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Sound familiar. Okay.
Yeah, and went there, and then my father passed so as he passed in January of 2019, I started at Temple, I believe in May of 2019.
And your father passed when?
January of 2019.
Wow, so it was a couple months after your father passed.
Yes.
That you went to TU.
Went to Temple. I took my talents to Temple University.
That's cool.
I was better professors. Multiple, not just you. You were certainly one of them, but many great professors. And I think too, I was in a place where I was ready to learn and engage. I mean, for me, I like to do things when I feel I'm ready to do them. So
I get it.
I was ready.
I get it. And it happens to a lot of us.
I've heard you took some time through college, right?
I think it was 300 years. I went to college right after the Civil War, American Civil War.
Okay.
I'm that old. No, I actually graduated from, at the time, the #1 academic high school in the country, public high school, Central High. And but I was not a good student. I got in with good grades, but I liked having fun. And I was the class clown of my class, 224.
Is that what led to the stand-up comedian career?
That you must have ESPN or MSG or something. How did you know that? Yes, I did some of that. I wrote comedy. I did stand-up comedy. I did a bunch of things. Yeah, I even had someone who had a show asked me to write comedy while I was in the Army. Yeah, I couldn't. I tried, but it just wasn't coming to me. So, what do you got there?
Well, this is my shameless plug. I learned you were a stand-up comedian from the back of your book, Lighten Up and Lead,
Oh, wow.
and figured I would use this time, where it would be very awkward if you said no to me,
No,
just to see if I could get
will
the
definitely do
author's
it.
signature
Yes,
in my
yes, I will
three
sign them all.
paper copies of your
Wait a
books.
minute. While you're doing that, this is Lighten Up and Lead. What's
Yes.
the other one?
We've got Soaring to Enlightenment and The Entrepreneur's Guide to Successful Leadership.
Wow. And honestly, I did not know you were bringing those. I did not know that. And I'm going to spend some time writing special things in here before you leave. Okay?
Perfect.
Wow, look at this. Let's do it this way. This is what they normally do when you have a podcast or a show or you're a guest. They always put your books, their books that they wrote, on the shelf so everybody could see them. But I won't do that, but let's see. I'll hold them up like this and like this. This is a shameless plug. And like this. Wow. This is pretty good. You read them?
I have not. Lighten Up and Lead. I got them. I got them about 6 months ago.
Oh, you did?
And
Oh, wow.
but although I am planning to read Lighten Up and Lead this month, because I have a group of about 20 interns and recent graduates that will be coming in May, and I just want to figure out how to help make it fun. And I think lightening up is something that could be used.
It's very important, lightening up. And it's interesting because this book is a compilation of, I was a magazine columnist for about, 4 or 5 years, for Smart Business Now. I think that's what it was called, or Small Business Now. And it was years ago. And this book is a compilation of the articles that I wrote. This book is sort of quasi-autobiographical. And the other book was part of a series by Prager that I co-authored with my buddy Don Martin, and that has been used as a text, actually. And my last book, which is called Entrepreneurship in the 21st Century, The Entrepreneurs from Within, is used as a text also. So,
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Thank you.
Yeah, well, I know I started this. I don't know if you ever. I did read a portion of this one. You can see there's some
I
marks
see
in
that,
here.
yes.
We got to acknowledgments.
You got to acknowledge
I don't know if you've heard of 75 Hard.
75 HARD?
Yes, but that is it's like a trending. At least last year it was trending fitness challenge, which not a big believer in. I don't think it's meant for sustained fitness. But I needed a kind of kick to get myself in gear. So it's 75 days where you do 2 45-minute workouts in that day. One of them has to be outside. You have to drink a gallon of water, read 10 pages of a nonfiction book, and I think that's it. Might be missing, and follow like at least some type of health diet,
And then go to sleep.
and go to.
You shouldn't have any time to do anything else after that.
That is true. I mean, yeah, that is where I would say I put some hobbies away for a few months.
It's very interesting because keeping yourself in shape, this is just another discussion, but since you brought that up, and then I want to get into what you're doing now, because while your pro stuff had to deal with money, what you do now has to deal with money. And I don't know if people are interested in money, making money.
It's not that
It
important.
would be,
Yeah.
you know.
We don't really need
But
it for
anyway,
anything.
yeah, we'll just toss it around a little bit. But staying healthy, eating well, a good diet, organic if you can, that's just me, okay? Working out every day for probably an hour. I work out around an hour and 15 minutes every day. And by the way, I was in the 224, and look what time it is. It's 224. So I always notice that. But it is to keep yourself healthy enough to keep rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
And the rest of it doesn't matter. I shouldn't say that. Money matters, no matter what anybody says. Money matters. You got to have money. Money can't buy you happiness, but it sure as hell
It's a tool.
helps. Okay.
Yes.
But I've known a lot of people who were very wealthy and miserable, and a lot of people who weren't so wealthy and were very happy. So that's important.
Have you known people that were wealthy and happy?
Yeah,
Okay.
a lot of them.
Good.
Okay? A lot of people who were wealthy, happy, funny, enjoyable, great to listen to, and I love being in their company.
You talking about yourself?
Well, I enjoy hanging out with myself, yeah.
Good.
But
It's the only
No, I
person
have
you
a
can
lot-
never get away from.
no, you can't. And it's the only person that you spend your entire life with.
This is
The
true.
only one. No one else. No one else. So stop being negative. I tell people it's normal to get a little bummed out once in a while, stressed out. Who doesn't?
Sure.
But keep it in perspective. Talking about that. Okay. Now this is called segueing. Has nothing to do with that thing yet.
Teach me the art.
What's that?
Teach me the art of segueing.
Well, here it's interesting. And now that you talked about making money as a professional gamer on Call of Duty Black Ops 3, how did you now, because I know that you married your high school sweetheart.
I did.
That's a beautiful thing, man. Beautiful. Okay. I had a high school sweetheart. I hope she's doing well somewhere in the United States.
She's better for having known you.
Yes. And so am I.
This is
For
knowing
her.
yourself. I gotcha.
But you got to know yourself.
This is
If
true.
you don't know yourself, you got some problems. Because if you really don't know yourself, how in the world are you going to know other people? How are you going to figure out other people if you can't figure out yourself?
And how are you going to find happiness?
That's right.
Yeah.
You won't. So when we talk about you making money as a gamer, and you did pretty well, I assume, okay? I'm not looking at your checkbook. But so what happened, and you alluded to it, when your father passed away, and he had a good financial planner,
Yes.
okay? And you were now at Temple in the beautiful campus in North Philly, the northern part of Philadelphia. Some people think maybe North Philly is like another town near Philly. No, it's
Right.
part of Philadelphia. What was that transition like? How did you like say, okay, maybe I'll get into this. Let me see what it's about.
So first, and your network is your net worth. I really believe in that statement.
It's from Andy Langston. Said that.
Good. I could not have pulled that one.
Yeah.
So I reached out to my father's prior financial advisor and just kind of shared, hey, this was a great experience. I mean, well, as great as it could be. I mean, it was
Right.
painless as possible.
Yes, from the financial standpoint.
Yes.
Yeah.
And just shared a little bit about, like what asking what the career is like, inquiring about it. And he said, yeah, I mean, you need soft skills. You got to have good intentions. You got to be very driven. But if you have those things, then, it could be a really good career. And he had connected me with James Hogan, another Temple alum.
I met him.
You did? Oh, yes. Yeah, he
he's-
came and spoke.
Yeah, he came and spoke in my class.
Yeah, he was showing me the ropes back then. So I met him and interviewed for the internship position, was offered it, and dove in head first, not really understanding what I was getting into.
I think it's a problem for a lot of people, okay? And some people, when they get into that, and this is any business, some people, when they get into something like that, they don't know the tenacity it's going to take.
Yeah.
They think it's going to be easy. Any business. And I must have had 1,000 employees over my lifetime between Four Eyes, Goldberg, Strunk and Levy, my oil, Atrium Oil and Gas, and some other ventures I've had. And some people just, they sort of drop off. They what you have to do, and I want to get back to your story in a minute, but this is for people who may be watching it and thinking, all right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But once they get there, they think, okay, I'm here now, right? I'll just get by, but they'll never succeed. They'll never reach the pinnacle. So anyway, because they have to, you have to be tenacious in your
Yes.
job. So I defer to you. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, you have to be tenacious. You have to know yourself. I mean, I think in my, in the first 3 months of starting up my business, I had at least 10 people tell me that I should consider different careers. They were willing to be references. I had my own aunt tell me that this was not the right time to be going into the industry because of COVID and different things that were taking place at that time.
And the industry is
Financial planning. So
okay.
insurance, investments, just overall financial management.
Okay.
And going into it, I think where competitive gaming played a role for me was winning 1 out of 10 tournaments as a competitive gamer meant you were doing very well. And I just took the same mindset into this career of, if I can win 1 out of every 10 conversations, I can build a successful career. And funnily enough, that actually is the statistic in our career, which is if you are referred to people, 3 out of 10 will have a conversation with you. 1 out of 10 will become a client.
Wow. It's like the baseball analogy would be, if you you got a hit 1 out of 3 times, you're an all-star.
Hall of Famer, yeah.
Yeah. If you get a hit 1 out of 4 times, you'll probably be in the major leagues for quite a while.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you get a hit 1 out of 10 times, you're not going to stick around. But it's a different metrics. In your field, you just get on the phone and you network, correct?
Yeah, you get on the phone, you're networking. The way that I built my practice and entirely is through word of mouth and referrals. So starting with my connections, I mean, you were one of the people that I had a networking call with.
Yes.
And you were able to connect me with, I believe, Ron, right? Ron Goldberg.
Yeah.
Who gave me incredible advice, right? So while that didn't lead to any direct business, it led to advice that helped me throughout my entire career.
It's great.
And that's really been I think the difference for me and what's allowed me to become successful in that is that being able to just open every door, right? Because you don't know if there's something good behind the door unless you actually open it and look.
There's no doubt about it. And Ron is my oldest best friend.
You've known him a little bit longer than you knew me.
A little bit.
A couple days.
Yeah, I think, let me see. I met Ron when I think we were both 6 years old. That would be 71 years ago.
Okay. So he's only got 65 years on me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We can, which is nothing.
Exactly.
We've been here for, 8.5 billion years?
Blink of an eye.
Blink of an eye. Yeah, it's nothing. It's nothing. And it goes by like that. It does. It goes by like that. You were just my student how many years ago? 6 years?
Yeah, 6 years.
And just like that, it's 6 years. It's 5 years. And you know why that is? You know why time goes faster? The older you get, did I ever tell you the Goldbergian theory of time?
Well, I don't know about the Goldbergian theory. I know the Thomas theory, which is that it's, when you're a child, right, the summer break feels incredibly long. And that's because all of the things you're doing, or many of the things you're doing, are new experiences, which feel like it's brand new and makes it feel longer. As we get older, less and less are new experiences, and thus it gets filed away into the filing cabinet of our mind, feeling like a shorter amount of time. That is my belief.
Oh, that's a good one.
What's the Goldbergian theory?
The Goldbergian theory of time is that when you're a child, let's say you're 10. That's a child, not
It's a good year.
10. 1 year is 1/10 of your life. That's a major portion. So you look at it as a clock almost.
Yeah.
But when you're 77, it's 1/77th. That's not even a minute. Well, wait a minute. It's a little more than a minute. That's about it. No, it isn't. It's less than a minute.
Yeah.
Okay?
60 minutes in an hour.
Yeah. So it's less than a minute on a clock. So it just goes just like that. It's okay. There's a year. There's another year. So
do you feel that would be true if you traveled for an entire year and would go into countries you've never been to? Do you think that would feel like a short year?
Well, it's interesting you should bring that up. Did you ever hear COVID?
I've heard.
Yeah. Well, I remember having a conversation with my better half, when COVID broke out. And it was crazy. I mean, we were doing all these things the government told us to do and everything. I was wearing masks. I used to wear a Halloween mask, a Nixon mask, or, Lyndon Johnson mask.
When I was in your class, my wife saw you or heard you mention that you would get the groceries delivered, wipe down the groceries before putting them away, and then we started wiping down our groceries. Yeah.
And now we found out it didn't matter, right?
Exactly.
But we went through that whole period. And I remember saying to my better half, I said, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. And we'll talk about it in a year or two from now, as if remember what we went through with COVID? And that's what we do now. It's like, yeah. So when we travel, I was just looking at something in another room here in the studio complex, and it was from a university in Germany that I lectured at. And it was a great time, and I was there for 10 days or whatever it was. But it's just a memory now, and if I go back, it'll just be another memory. And, I do travel overseas, and I think if it was a year, I'd cherish every second, but then I'd know that a year from now, I'll be saying, remember that year when we did that. And my grandfather, who lived to be 100, I said to him, and I may have said this actually to you, I guess you live day to day, Pop, right? He goes, no. You live minute by minute, second by second, because you never know what life can bring or what life will bring.
Yeah.
So, which goes back to your business. Right?
Absolutely.
It's important.
I mean, it's minute by minute. How are you managing your day? There's a phrase used, vacation at work. It's something that's very easy to do when you're in business for yourself and no one's making you do something. Just because you're at the office for 8 hours, 10 hours a day doesn't mean you're being productive.
Right.
For that same period of time. Now, what I will say to utilize COVID was I think COVID allowed for me to have a very unique experience as an intern, because all of Temple's courses were remote for, I believe, 2 semesters.
Yeah.
And I took all of my classes from the office. So I was able to essentially work full time.
Wow.
That I would not have been able to do otherwise.
That's interesting.
I think it helped me.
Look, I would say when they started saying come back to the office, I mean, I love an in-person class. Online classes are great too. I run them pretty much the same way. And I would think, well, wait a minute here. This online stuff is not bad. I'm home. I go upstairs. I teach the class. Class is over. I go downstairs. Okay. But there is something about being there in person.
Yes.
There is something about the energy people bring you. There is something about the feeling that you get when you're having a conversation with someone in person.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll never forget, we used to have our meetings, obviously, virtually. And I ran into a colleague that I had only, for a couple of years, only seen on screen. And we were talking, and she waved, "Hey, Dan," and I went over to her, and she said, "I bet you didn't realize I was this short." I was like, "No, I didn't." And I have a partner in another business who I never realized was that tall.
I was just thinking the same thing.
It's like, so there's something kind of cool about in person. So I'm going to get back to your thing, okay? How did you become, so you were tenacious, and you made all these phone calls, and you did all this stuff, and you networked with people. Right?
Yes.
What was it that made you successful as an intern? You were like, what, number 9 in the country?
I was, yes. I got acknowledged at our annual meeting. Got to meet Damon John from Shark Tank.
Yeah, I'm supposed to talk to him in about 15. No, I'm kidding.
Me too.
Yeah. But you will talk to him because you stay in touch with him, don't you?
We do, yes.
Yeah,
so
that's
I'll
pretty cool.
A couple times a year we'll try to have a touch point.
Yeah, that's great. So give me some background into what happened, how you built it up.
thick skin. I mean, I really think, the first week I was actually reaching out and making client calls. I remember, this is the not so glorious part, right? Sitting down on our balcony with my wife in tears, because I'd had a negative conversation in relation to financial planning with one of my aunts, and it had really affected my self confidence
Wow.
and my belief in myself. And I just remember having a moment of where I needed to decide, right, of do I have the grit and determination to continue this, with the right morals too, is always something very important for me, because you hear often about, and I think the industry itself can have a somewhat of a taboo around it, of people trying to make the most money they can. And when I started my career, what I share with my wife, Kat, so I don't keep saying my wife, was, I'm going to give it 100% to succeed while maintaining all of my morals and making sure I'm always doing the right thing for the people I'm working with. And I'll either fail the way that I believe is morally correct, or I'll succeed and be able to be proud about what it is that I do and who that I help.
It's important. I mean, your ethics are so important, because if you're a rectum, you act like a rectum, that's the word I use,
Yes.
it'll get around. People will shut you down, and they won't recommend you.
Yes.
If you act like a solid, ethical, caring person, that gets around.
Yeah.
So, and that's in any business. If you're squeezing people for every penny, my motto at Four Eyes was people before profit, and it was on our stuff and all, and it's true. And the other thing is, in your business, you'll get jerks on the phone
Oh yeah.
who'll say the nastiest things to you, and you just have to let it roll off your back.
Yeah, I've heard very nasty things.
Yeah, it's weird.
And then I'll go home to my wife and remember why I'm doing everything that I'm doing, right? And know that, I'm building something for not only myself, not only us, but, our future children, and realize the impact and how much that reverberates.
That's a great point. For all my students, all the people who listen to this podcast, and I hope that there's plenty of them. Okay?
Millions.
Millions. Billions if we can.
Sure.
Billions. It's a great point that people don't think about. It's like you're doing something to enjoy the now, always be in the now, but there is a future.
Yeah.
And while you are being in the now, you will be in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to plan for the future, but live in the now. And if you can balance that, which for people, students going into the workforce, anybody going to the workforce now, they have to remember that. They have to remember the tenacity. They have to remember, why am I here? What do I want to do in the future? How do I want to get to where I want to get? And for some people, success may be being a billionaire, and for other people, it may just be being comfortable, or, living on a farm, or whatever.
Right.
Just being comfortable, being happy, having kids, and being in love, stuff like that, which you brought out very well. It's about my wife. It's about me. It's about the future.
Yeah, I think, when I was looking at my career options, and again, I don't think there's any right or wrong career for, if it's the right person and the right fit. The way that I viewed it was, I don't want to work 40 hours a week for the rest of my life to build somebody else's dream.
Yeah,
And that was how I felt about a salary.
I get it.
I would much prefer to put 50 or 60 hours in a week for 5, 6, 7 years, to create the ability to have financial freedom, and more importantly, freedom of my time, to be able to do the things that are important to me. And my father ran his own business and never missed a single baseball game of mine.
Wow.
And I played a lot of baseball.
Good for you, man.
I aspire to be in a similar position, and sometimes in a salaried role you might not have that choice of if you do or don't work.
It's interesting. I'm a baseball freak, you know that.
I know.
I'm a baseball freak. I've been to lots of different stadiums. I'm a big Phillies fan.
District 17 champs back in 2008.
You're amazing.
7. Oh, yeah.
Different. Plus, you're in the top. You're eighth in the world in Call of Duty, Black Ops 3. You're ninth in the country as an intern. You like that top 10 tier, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to break in the top 5 in something.
Yeah. Well, you're in the top 5 of the top 8.
Yeah. I'll go with it. Sure.
You know, here's what position did you play?
Third base, hot corner.
I'd go. My brother played third base.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never
I-
broke my nose. That was my.
I was playing third base and chipped a tooth. Still chipped. 800 years later. Okay. Third base, ball bounced right up and hit me in the mouth. But and could you hit?
I could. Yeah. Well, for many years I batted cleanup.
Wow. So you
I
had
will say
power?
I bat. Yeah, I had a lot of power, and then I will say I went through like a 2-year slump because I got moved from 4th to 5th in the batting order, messed up my mental,
Really?
and like when I moved from 4th to 5th, eventually I was batting 9th,
Oh, okay.
and took till high school till I was able to really like hit again.
And how about that new bat? What's it called? The
The torpedo.
torpedo bat. Made in King of Prussia.
That's what I needed.
Outside of Philadelphia.
That was what I needed.
Really? You hit with power?
I did hit with power. It was
Where were the Phillies when you need? Didn't you call the Phillies up? You should've
I'm
called
still telling them if they need someone to come in for Trey Turner.
them. There you go. Well,
I'll do it for half the money.
Yeah, there you go. I would play first base for the Phillies, but they got this guy Harper guy. Okay, he's making a little more than me. So
I'd take you over Harper.
I'll lean over for that. But Harp's good. He's good.
He is good.
But he's an all-star. So there's a beautiful thing. Your message is to people, and you've said this. You've said this in my classes. It's tenacity.
Yeah.
It's not getting so down on yourself. Nothing is worse than making cold calls and people hanging up on you, right? Unless you do that technique I told you.
There are worse things than cold calls, but not many. Not many.
It's true. That's true. You know, digestive problem.
Yes.
Something like that. But it's amazing. I really think it's important, and I've said it earlier, that people now, the young people now, my students, and I love my students, you know that. I'll really help them in any way I can, that they have to realize that it's going to take hard work to succeed. Nobody gives you anything. Unless you're a silver spoon baby or trust fund baby. But even then, you can screw it up. So you have to work.
Yeah.
And you have to say, I'm not going to let myself get too far down. I'll have my bumps, but I'm going to get back up. And you've run through that.
I think something, and I always try to mention this when possible because again, then you flatter me, top 10 gamer, top 10 financial intern, a financial advisor intern.
It's true.
I always say though, what the things that people don't see are really what built the character to get to those successes, which is failures.
Yeah.
You have to fail more than you will succeed. And the number 9 all-time producer at Northwestern Mutual, which was Dave Hilton II, maybe he's watching, said when the day he was announcing his retirement, everybody talks about the records, the awards, the recognition that he received, but nobody talks about how he probably heard no more than anybody else in the history of the company. And for me, that resonated, really impactfully because he's 40 years in, and you're not thinking about the no you heard in that first or second year.
It's the truth.
But it built up to where he was.
It's the truth. You have to be resilient, and you have to be able to take negativity, to take no, to lose, to be sometimes beaten down, to get back up, higher, better, more resilient. It's tough. I mean, I've had some great successes, and I've had some horrible failures. And any entrepreneur who says they never had a failure is either a very lucky person or full of crap.
I'm going to guess the second.
Second, they all, unless they're sleaze bags and climbed over somebody's back, but then from a morality standpoint, they're a loser.
Yeah.
Okay, they may have a lot of money, but they're a loser. That's just me.
I agree 100%.
That's me. But I'd say any entrepreneur I know has lost. Substantial sometimes, not substantial other times, but still lost. And you have to know how to get past that. You do.
Absolutely.
You know, sometimes we reflect on those things, and you go, "How did I make it through?" And you did. This too shall pass.
That was always my moniker. This too shall pass, and it's just one foot in front of the other. You know, you're going to have great days, you're going to have awful days, and days in between.
Yeah.
But still grateful for every day that I get the privilege of waking up.
Yeah. Yes. Waking up is a good thing.
Mm.
Waking up is a beautiful thing to do. I'm just every morning when I get up, I look outside and I go, "This is nice." You know, here I am. and I'm getting my arm is falling asleep, so
Give it a wiggle.
yeah, I have to do that thing. How does your arm fall asleep? What does that mean?
It heard you talk about waking up, and it
It's
felt a
true.
little sleepy.
That's what happened. Every morning I can't get going until I work out.
So I want to flip the script for a moment
Okay.
here, because I promised myself I was going to hear some more about your stand-up comedy career. How did you get into stand-up comedy? For how long did you do it?
Okay, this is what happened. I was always an introvert, as you can tell, right? Yes. So I was always extroverted. My father was funny. He was a funny guy. Died much too early, and my brother's funny. My son is funny. My daughter's funny. But I was the class clown at Central. Okay. And I used to do different accents and imitate people. I used to imitate John Kennedy and let him rest in peace. Okay. And then I actually even had an agent. So one day I had the opportunity to, by the way, and I also used to MC our class reunions.
Okay.
And then I got a call to go to the host farm in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And it was a resort hotel. I don't know if it's there anymore, but it had big name entertainers at the time.
Like Dan Goldberg.
What?
Like Dan Goldberg.
Like Dan Goldberg.
Yeah.
Yeah. How'd you know that? You
I heard he's
ESPN.
comedian.
ESPN. So Jackie Mason and Alan Sherman, and these names may mean nothing to our listeners now, but famous singers and comics and so forth. And I would introduce them. I do shtick, I do comedy, and then they'd come out, and here's Jackie Mason, and here's Alan Sherman. You may not know who he is. He made a famous album song called "Hello Mudda, Hello Fada, Here I Am in Camp Granada." You don't know that.
I don't.
Yeah, a lot of people do. Okay, and Jackie Mason was Jackie Mason, and a whole bunch of other ones, and I would have to do a little bit of stand up.
Okay.
To, sort of open for them to some degree, and sing sometimes before they came out, and then I would do that at. I remember we had a reunion at Palumbo's, and the person that was supposed to be there, the highfalutin comic, he was late, so I did a whole stand-up routine. So my stand-up just came from that, and I just kept doing it.
Okay.
And I worked with some really cool people, because I worked there for, well, until I went into the service, yeah.
Okay.
After that. And then afterwards, I just kept doing it. Now I do it, but it's in a different setting.
You do it to your classes. Keep
That's
them engaged.
exactly right.
I mean, a little bit of humor goes a long way for engagement.
It does. And plus, they're captive.
Yeah, that's true.
They have a
can't get
captive
away.
audience. What are they going to do?
It's true.
Yeah.
They've never walked out on you.
No. What kind of, if they're going to the bathroom, I always say, what am I, losing my audience or whatever? But, yeah, that's how I got into stand-up comedy. And then I may have mentioned this to you or said it earlier. that one of the comics that I was working with asked me to write for him while I was in the Army. And it was not a good time. I just couldn't think of
Well,
too many.
probably hard to
funny
think of
jokes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was hard to think of funny
Yeah.
things. So I told him, how about if, when I get out, I'll work with you on this. So, 'cause I was an active then. And that's basically what and it rolled out from there. I did other things.
This is the plug for your comeback tour.
Yes, my comeback. Well, here's the interesting thing. I also, for years, had a consulting firm. I still have it, and I would do keynote speeches for major companies and stuff like that. And if you're doing keynote speeches and you're not funny, and you're boring,
I'm
Then
asleep
you-
in 5 minutes.
yeah, that's it. You're people. But if you're engaging and funny, it's a form of stand-up.
Yeah.
But you're also informative, and they're learning things. It's golden. And I did a lot of stuff like that.
One of my bucket list items is to do a TED Talk. Have you ever done a TED Talk?
I have not done a TED Talk. No, I should do a TED Talk.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, if Ted is out there, I'm going to talk to him.
Just talk right to him.
Yeah, I'm going to say, Ted.
Bucket list item complete.
Yeah. Well, we'll try to do that. Try to get you in a TED Talk. Thomas, this has been pretty cool.
This has been pretty cool.
This is the first digging for gold.
Hopefully,
Thomas
hopefully you
Northern.
found some.
Yeah, I did. You've given gold to these people. You've given your insights. You've given your story. That's golden, man. I mean, everybody has a story, and that story is golden. You just get one nugget of gold out of that, and it's worth it.
I couldn't agree more. I think if the one nugget the golden nugget I would love to leave behind is I think accountability.
Yeah.
I think that's something I've noticed in my generation and my peers and even myself to a degree can sometimes lack. It's very easy to want to say this or that is the reason something didn't occur,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
we control our lives.
We do.
So,
And consideration.
consideration,
Be
absolutely.
considerate to people. Be kind. Be caring. And your word is something that when you give it, you keep it.
Absolutely.
It may be the only thing in life that's like that. That when you give, you actually keep.
Yeah,
So-
can't think of anything else.
Yeah, that's about it. Well, listen, folks. Thank you for joining us, Digging for Gold. #1 episode with Thomas Northern of Northwestern Mutual, right?
Yes.
You may want to talk to him.
No.
How can they get a hold of you? What's your email if somebody wants to get a hold of you?
First.last@nm.com, thomas.northern@nm.com, and I can probably provide somehow a link to you for my
Yeah.
website that you can put in there.
So it's thomas.northern at
nm.com.
nm.com.
Or my website is thomasnorthern.nm.com, which I'll provide all that to you. So you can throw it in there.
thomasnorthern.nm.com, and we'll have it below, right? Isn't
Confirm
that
with
what
my compliance director.
Yes, yeah. All right. Thank you. One more
Pleasure.
time. Thanks, folks. You take care.
He'll be autographing these now.
I'll be autographing those, and come back to us for the next Digging for Gold with Dan Goldberg. And we'll have another wonderful guest coming up soon.
Francesca Francois.
Yeah, Francesca Francois is joining us.
All right.
And Francesca has a wonderful talent agency in Manhattan. So she'll be joining us in a couple weeks.
It's my fallback career.
That is. There you go.
Let's hope I don't need it. 'Cause
No.
I don't have a voice.
No, you don't need a fallback. All right, thank you. We'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.
Take care.
That was great.
That was fun.
Yeah. Great. Let me sign these. Let me tell John. John? Yeah, we're done.
He couldn't get an hour out of me. Only 59 minutes.
Yeah, that was